Hey everyone, I am Small Brain, and today, this morning, I was writing this talk, and I first started off by thinking, what should I say? And, immediately I was like, this is who I am, and this is what I want to talk about, and this is what I've built, and this is what I learned because of it. And then I very quickly realized that I don't think I've built anything that justifies me telling you stuff about, marginal improvements about what I learned from building games and why I think that'll affect the space. I haven't really done anything great. And in fact, I don't think any of us have. I don't mean that in a bad way, we're trying to, but I don't think we're at a point where we can be like, we are amazing and this is what is working and this is how it's going to work in the future. Well, at least I thought that if I was in the audience and somebody was giving a talk like that, I wouldn't find it very useful. And so I figured what sort of talk might I find useful? And so I think what I'm going to do is I am going to tell you three kind of not crazy, but just random wild ideas that I have. And I'm not even going to talk about myself or what I learned that created these. They're just going to stand purely on the sequences of words that they are. And maybe it still won't be useful at all, but it won't definitely not be useful. So, that's good enough. And I think specifically these are literally I think they start from interesting thoughts that make sense and get more and more deranged and kind of nonsensical as they go on. And so, they're not things people have built or maybe not things that anybody should build, but they are some words that you hopefully might find interesting. I think before I tell you about the first thing, I am going to make a point that I think will drive a lot of these ideas. There's one theme connecting them, and the one theme connecting them is that autonomous worlds, maybe by nature, even of the term and by nature of the technologies they're built on, are pretty siloed. That's a literal silo, I think, that stores grain or something. But I mean, I think they're siloed because of the obvious reason, which is blockchains are very deterministic things, and so it's hard when they can't connect to the internet because the internet is very non-deterministic. There's packets and stuff going on and websites go down. You need a bunch of nodes to come to consensus or whatever. And so it's kind of hard to break out of this very deterministic system. And autonomous worlds on top of that are saying they're doing things having digital physics. And I think that what that leads to is I spent a lot of time on the silo stuff. I'm just going to skip to the end of it. Okay. I realize this point's very simple and it doesn't deserve 4 garbage slides. But the point is that I don't even think Morris is here, so sorry to shout him out. But the point is I think we're all building things that are within silos. And even within the silo of Ethereum or whatever, when people build autonomous worlds, a lot of the projects I see, including mine, put rules into existence and then say play by my rules, and then people make the point that all the interesting composable stuff is going to happen if you build on top of my world, right? It's putting a silo on top of a silo. These things don't really talk to each other, but they can. But I don't even think they should, or the developers really want them to. It's we're building these really tiny worlds, and we're saying everybody should care about mine and do all this interesting composable stuff on top of mine. But it's weird because if you think about it, it's kind of a Web 2 feeling business model. Not even to use the word business model, but just the fact that I will run the platform and it is my platform, and it's not really mine, but it actually low-key is. And something in there, there's some tension there is all I'm saying. Oh yeah, and there's also something happening in StarkNet, and here's a bunch of silos. And then behind it is Wikipedia, which is the internet. I think oh, and that's the point I'm about to make, which is I think all of these ideas thematically will be about how different techniques can help on-chain games or programs on-chain break out of silos. And the obvious one I think we're going to start off with is TLS Notary and the internet. And what wild stuff you could build with this. But I guess first of all, do people know what I'm talking about? Sweet. All right, cool. This is fine. I will explain it badly. here's a blank screen. Here is tlsnotary.org, which is a website on the internet. And interestingly, here is a lock next to TLS Notary. You know, when you go to tlsnotary.org on Safari or on whatever browser, there's usually this little lock next to the website. And that little lock means that like there is some cryptography going on, which lets your computer know that this is a valid response from a website. This is a valid HTML response from a website. And so the interesting thing is like, what if you can take that response and validate it on chain? There's like lots of ways to bring external data on chain. Actually, there's one, it's oracles. Like, there's lots of ways to implement oracles, but it's like kind of gross. There's like like some tension there. Like TLS Notary is a much cleaner way to do it. You can't actually just take that cryptography and verify it on chain because the creators of TLS like I think very specifically did work in the design to make sure you can't, but you can with a little MPC trick where there's a server in the middle that notarizes your TLS. So like performs a multi-party computation with you when you access a website, and that website just thinks it's communicating with you, but really it's communicating with you and this extra notary server that are doing a multi-party computation, which lets somebody else, and that multi-party computation keeps the contents of your web communication safe from the other server, the notary server, but it lets somebody else, it generates an artifact which lets somebody else believe, as long as they trust the notary server, that this is a valid HTML response from this website that you got. And I think specifically this is the path to like bringing a much cleaner way to bring any data from the internet onto the blockchain. Like I'll say that again. Like that's kind of absurd. You can take any data from the internet and you can put it on chain with some proof that it's valid. And this is kind of absurd. Like I think the right mental model here is, do people read or are familiar with Josh Stark's idea of like Ethereum's main property is hardness? Like it's like the fact that bringing data on chain like makes that data a fixed point that people can collaborate around. Like I think like this is the same way to think about why TLS Notary is so powerful, is that you can take arbitrary internet data and give it the hardness, make it a fixed point that people can collaborate around on chain. Okay, cool, this is great. Now I'm gonna say like some stupid stuff. Oh yeah, this is the world we should be living in and that we can be living in now. Here's some dumb stuff you could build. This is stuff that like I might build and everybody else probably thinks is a bad idea, but like hopefully it's useful to spark the type of stuff you could build. One thing you can make is an internet leaderboard. You can take like data from like Reddit, and like I can verify that I have like 1,000 followers on Twitter and I've made 40 Reddit posts and like my bank account has $10 in it, and like take all of this data, validate it on chain and give people points for it and make like a whole internet wide leaderboard. I think there's lots of things to explore here. You could also like do like 90 variations of, remember that guy who airdropped people some token because of how much gas they've spent on Ethereum? And that was kind of like here is something that's been tracked on Ethereum, and now, now we're like, you do the same thing for anything on the internet now, right? And like, that should like give you an idea that this is something like we're scratching the surface of something insane. Another thing you could do is you could take Twitter and you could put incentives on it. Like right now, like you could put incentives that say like I can tweet, like I would do this when I tweet something. I put a tweet out and I could say like, here's like $1,000, and this $1,000 can be distributed among people who meet a certain bar of quality who say something interesting about my post. And you just put the bounty up there and like anybody can go claim it and like verify that on Twitter, like not some other decentralized social network that is built on chain, like on actual Twitter, that they said this thing meets your bar, and then claim that payment on chain trustlessly. So you can like move money around based off of data on the internet. And another thing you could build, and this one's kind of insane. Do people remember like Talking Tom? I don't even know why I put Talking Tom up here. This is like not what I'm about to tell you, but like I do know why, but it's like not exactly the point I'm about to make, which is like the previous way, or like the current standard of way to bring LLM data on chain or bring AI data on chain is ZKML, right? Like you chug a huge ML model through a ZKP, and then you get, this is a valid response for my ML model, and people can verify that on chain. And like now your ML model response is a fixed point, which you can do interesting stuff around, like control like rain in some sort of, world, or like move money around or whatever. TLS Notary is a nice hack, right? Like, and the problem with this is like you can kind of run GPT-2, but it like takes a lot of cost. TLS Notary is a nice hack. You can just like prove you got a valid response from OpenAI, right? And so you can like put a massive model on chain and like throw some trust to an LLM provider that is kind of not lying. Um, yeah, anyways, those are the TLS notary ideas. I'm gonna move on now. All right, cool. Another fun thing you can do is ZK app attest. What this is app attest. I'm literally just speed talking because I want to get these things out. App attest is a protocol by Apple that lets you know from your server that this response is a valid response from an app that's from a real iPhone running a specific binary. Okay, so like they use it for like bot detection and stuff for games. But the fun thing is, two people, Kaylee and Sophion, figured out how to verify this in a ZKP based on, because you know SP1 is nice and you can do stuff like in Rust now, and so you can verify app attest in a ZKP, which means on chain you can get a proof that this thing came from a valid response from a real app. Okay, this is insane because now it's like the iPhone can talk to the chain and you can know that things came from the iPhone to the chain. And there's like so many sensors on the iPhone that you can bring all of this data verifiably on chain. So like anything that you can verify with an app on an iPhone, you can make a proof such that anybody believes that thing is real on chain. Anyways, some things you could do like WorldCoin but chill. Like you could airdrop to like every real iPhone holder, you know, that's scanning people's eyes. Or you could like have them take a selfie and verify it. You could do like, okay, most of these are like dumb token airdrop ideas, but like you get the point. Like you do one thing which is like a grass airdrop where you hide like a grass token under every blade of grass on Earth, and people need to like physically touch that grass, then they get the thing under it because it's verified by their phone's GPS. You could build this missile game where like you have to shoot missiles at people and they have to get out of the location, but there could be financial stakes on it. You could do like an airdrop, which is literally like you get more depending on how far you drop your phone. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna move on to the last thing. I'm out of time. Should I just cut it here? All right, guys, we're all bought in to listen to Sohan talk a little bit longer. All right, cool. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk about, which is a random crazy idea that might spark something, is I actually have been bullish play to earn lately. And normally I was like, play to earn's like kind of bad. All right, so how do play to earn games work? Also, this is like, somebody please tell me if I'm saying something wrong because I'm like, you know, I don't know anything. Play to earn games usually have two assets, asset A and asset B. Usually how it works is you buy asset A to play, asset A helps you earn asset B, and then you have to spend asset B to upgrade asset A so that it can earn more asset B. And so then what you end up with somebody with like a bunch of asset A and asset B because they're like buying A, spending B to upgrade A to earn more B, and then like a bunch of people are like, oh my god, how does David have all this A and B? Like I need to get some, and then they get some, they start doing the thing, and then you know, it keeps going, and it's like this, you get it. Like there's inflating supply and like limited demand, and eventually the thing collapses in on itself. And the problem here is like there's ways to solve this, right? Like how people have attempted to solve this has been to like do things where tokens start getting burned late in the pyramid, right? And so like you don't have the inflating supply problem. Another thing that people have done to solve it is like make a fun game or whatever, right? So like there's some sort of like base of value that the thing crashes down to. Like they're very good at bootstrapping huge audiences. The problem is that like when they crash, they usually crash all the way to zero because you've bootstrapped an audience of mercenaries, not people who care about your game. Like that, you know, the Chris Dixon 2 lines, that's like the problem there. So like, why am I bullish this, right? I'm bullish this because I think you can flip the model on its head. Oh, by the way, like some examples is like the asset A is usually an NFT and asset B is usually a token. Like this is your Axes and your Smooth Left Potion or your shoes and your step in shoes and your GST or whatever, right? Like you can just kind of take your favorite play to earn game and it should fit within this framework. Okay, the fun thing you can do here is replace asset A with a real item. Okay, like if Stepin had physical shoes, and this is why. The two problems with play to earn games are one, there's no floor of value, right? So like, what if you if shoes are just obviously valuable? Like I didn't solve this question by like trying to make a fun game. I like solved this question by like just like clearly selling you something valuable. And then the second problem is the audience you bootstrap is not an audience who actually gains value from what you're doing. So like in this case, you literally just make people earn for running in the shoes, you know? And let me It's because it flipped the model on its head. That's what I was thinking. All right, anyways, okay, another thing you could do, okay, and what this does is it turns play to earn games into a mechanism for bootstrapping a mimetic product. And so I think like water bottles and shoes are really good for this. Like water bottles are like, this is the last one. It's the most insane one. Water bottles are like kind of crazy items, right? Like the Hydro Flask and the Stanley Cup are like meme their way to insanity. Like what you do is like, you do something like take a water bottle and like put a sensor at the top that like tracks how much water you drink, yeah? And when you drink water, you like get some token and you can spend that token to buy stickers that stick on your water bottle and like upgrade its earning capabilities. Like, you know, maybe like you put a sticker on that like if you drink when you wake up in the morning, like gives you extra token or whatever. And what you get from this is like you get the classic play to earn network effects early on where like the product goes crazy, right? Like the water bottle, like you essentially meme the next Stanley Cup into existence. And then what happens is eventually like most of the people who bought the water bottle are buying the thing and the token's kind of worthless. And then like I come in and like I buy like the Hydro Flask or whatever and I drink from it and then I'm like, cool, like I only got 50 cents. And it's like kind of fine because maybe I bought a slightly more expensive water bottle, but like I bought the nice water bottle that's been memed into the world that everybody has. And like I am literally drinking water from it. And so like what you do is you take the play to earn model for all that it is, which is like a way to get a thing into people's minds and you just use it to launch something like obviously valuable. Anyways, that's it. Thank you all. I'm small brain. Oh, and also I am launching a talking rubber duck. So come talk to me about that if you want to. That's it.